everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today I am building a starter home in The Sims 4 and this is a house that I've decided to call Holcomb House. I named it that because I was looking at house floor plans online to try to get ideas and I saw this house and I thought it was really cute, and the designer or the architect or whatever who had originally built this house called it Holcomb House, which is sort of interesting because the end result actually doesn't really look very much like the original house that I had found online, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. So I started off and I was like, alright, cool, starter home. This will be like maybe a little challenging, but like I really wanted to like stick to like that true starter home budget, and I really failed. So I started off and this house was a little bit too big, at least for a starter house in The Sims. Like in real life, this clearly is like a starter home style floor plan, and like the rooms are all fairly small and there's like just the one bathroom, so you would think that this would be like a starter home in The Sims, and it really wasn't. So eventually I realized this and I end up taking out a rather significant chunk of the house. It's still a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. It started off as a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, so in all honesty, I only end up getting rid of the 1 bedroom, but in order to do that, I do take out like a whole side of the house, basically, which you'll see that happen in a few minutes. So yeah, and then I really wanted to like, I don't know, not necessarily like limit my pack builds on this, but I wanted to try to like keep my pack builds pretty minimal. Also, because it seems like a lot of, I don't know, I feel like the pricing of objects and expansion packs and game packs and stuff packs, it's a little all over the place. Like some of the earlier packs, I think they were pricing stuff like higher than they are now. And like I think it's Cats and Dogs or Seasons, I don't remember. One of the two has like really inexpensive build mode items, and I know in Strangerville there's really cheap build mode items. So yeah, I tried to limit it a little bit because it's a lot easier to do that way. So I used the kind of like laminate basketball looking flooring from City Living, which I don't know. Is basketball flooring really a laminate wood? I have no idea. Or is it like real wood that's treated with something? I have no idea. I've never really thought about this before, but I use it in this build because I wanted it to be a laminate wood floor because like it looks nicer and newer, but it's like kind of a good way to save a little bit of money. And yeah, so I use not the super cheapest fridge, but like the next cheapest fridge. And unfortunately, like our stoves are kind of expensive, so I do end up having to use the very cheap stove, but you know, it's fine. It's a little bit riskier, but that's okay. It just makes the gameplay more interesting. So at this point still, the floor plan is pretty much exactly how it is on the original house that I had found online. The only thing is that I flipped where the dining room and the kitchen were because I thought that it would make more sense to have the back door lined up with the front door. Like, it's just logically that just makes more sense to do it that way. And then obviously then that would really cut into the amount of space that you have in the kitchen. So yeah, so right now I'm just making sure that I have like the bare bones essentials in all of the rooms. So originally I was going to do a master bedroom, a kid room, and then like a toddler / baby room, and eventually I get rid of the baby part of that and then combine the kid and toddler into one room. So the other thing is that because I was trying to keep the budget pretty low and still furnish like a decent sized house, I didn't put in a TV, definitely did not put in a computer. It feels like TVs in this game are a little overpriced, I think. I think they're a little bit high for, like, compared to how TVs are priced in the real world. Like, I understand computers being more expensive because, like, computers are pretty expensive, especially, like, a halfway decent computer. But it seems like TVs are a little overpriced in The Sims 4. And yes, I know you can take a smaller one and size it up, but there's no good wall-mounted cheap TV. There's that single tile one from Get to Work that I think is supposed to be used as like a monitor in the hospital, but it sticks out really far from the wall, especially when you size it up. So it would be nice if we had a cheaper wall-mounted TV that we could use. So I don't think I even end up keeping this bed in the master bedroom. I think I end up removing that bed altogether. And then obviously now I'm doing the bathroom, which I wanted to do a shower tub combo because in real life, I feel like that's what you see the most of. And yet we only have a few options of that in The Sims, which is sort of funny to me. Like, I don't know, most houses, at least where I live, don't have a standalone shower and tub. They'll have a combo, but we have we have 2 from the base game, 1 from Vampires, and 1 from Parenthood, and that's it. So, like, shout out Sims team. Give us more, please. And here's where I realized that I was not going to have enough money to furnish the house. So I completely chopped off the master bedroom in the bathroom, that whole area, and then I redo the floor plan. So there's a kid's bedroom in the front, a master bedroom in the back, and then a bathroom kind of sandwiched in the middle. I also didn't put any windows on the sides of the house because that's more realistic to what you would actually find in the real world. And it's also a good way to save on some money because, like, windows are expensive. And then for every window, you need to have, like, a window treatment because otherwise, especially, like, you can get away with not having curtains and stuff on a more modern style house. But especially, like, this is a pretty traditional looking house and the windows just look sort of naked without anything on them. So I decided to kind of downgrade the bed in the master bedroom. And this is where I get into a little bit of a logistical nightmare trying to find a way to make this work. I wanted to have a master bed, obviously a double bed, a dresser, and at least 1 nightstand. And I was not pleased with how this was turning out at all. Like, there's just not enough room. And so I decided to get rid of the nightstand and keep the dresser. And then eventually I moved the dresser out into the kitchen and put in 2 nightstands again. And then eventually I also then delete the dresser from the kitchen. So you'll see all that happen, but it was quite a process. So this is now the kids' bedroom. I went with like an orange and yellow theme because I don't know that I've used that color scheme in a while for a kid's room. And it's gender neutral and it's pretty bright. So I feel like, because that room is a little, I don't know, it seems dark in there for some reason because it only has the 1 window, I guess. And then I tried to cover up the roof here with a chimney because, I mean, like, we do have an actual fireplace inside. But I decided instead to just kind of cheat the roof and duplicate it and then pull up the eaves. And that works much better. And then I can just use like a regular chimney that just sort of plops on top of the roof. So I wanted it to be like the living room without a TV. Then I wanted there to be like something to do. So I put in the stereo in a bookcase. Because, you know, that way then you can always save up for a TV because, you know, I think in Sims gameplay, a lot of times if you're starting off, you don't always have the money for a TV, so I feel like skipping a TV is pretty realistic. Oh yes, and then I also had a really hard time figuring out how to carpet the master bedroom. This master bedroom just was not good. I really struggled with it because we don't have cheap square rugs. So all of our rugs that are cheaper are rectangular. So even when you size them up, then they still don't really work. And I guess I could have sized them up and then sort of like stacked 2 next to each other so it sort of turns into a square. But I don't know. I didn't really like that idea either. So then I move the dresser out to the kitchen and bring in 2 nightstands, and I'm pretty pleased with it, except then I also, in the end, rotate the bed like 90 degrees to be on a different wall. So that master bedroom, like, I feel like every build has like one thing that's just like, ooh, come on. And this build, it was the layout of the master bedroom. So now I'm going through and doing some lighting. I used that kids' room light. Well, it's not from the kids' room stuff pack, but it's a base game light that's meant to be used in a kid's bedroom. And I used that several times and just shrunk it down because, like, it's a ceiling light. It's a flush to the ceiling type of ceiling light. So you don't even really see it in gameplay. And it lights up the room fairly well. And it's like half the cost of the usual, like, round ceiling mounted pot light thing that I usually use. And I was like, you know what? We are going to save some money. So now I'm checking the thumbnails and making sure that it looks okay on the gallery. And then I scooched it over because I realized that I chopped off half the house and it was no longer centered on the lot. And that was bothering me. Also, I didn't realize this, but I guess it makes a lot of sense. But when you put a house up on the gallery, it deducts out the cost of the lot from the cost of the building itself. So at the end, I actually end up with like an extra $2,000 that I didn't realize I was going to be getting. So like that made it a little bit easier. Oh yeah, and I sized up these bushes because I like these bushes a lot, but they're very small. And this way they take up a little bit more space and I don't need to use as many of them to fill in the same amount of space. And hey, that works just as well. So I'm finishing up what I thought would be kind of like the end at this point. And then I'm just going in and trying to use up the last little bit of money that I had to decorate. I really like these paintings from City Living. I think it's from City Living. And that's when I was like, you know, I don't like this bed on this wall. Let's put it on this wall over here. And then it's got like the nice curtain coming in from the side. I just sort of thought that it would look a little bit nicer to have like light coming in from that window across the side of the bed instead of like directly straight onto it. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I like to place master beds so they're looking out the window, so you could like, your Sims could lay in bed and look out the window, which obviously isn't actually a function we have in the game, but in my mind, that is sort of what I like to imagine happening. So now is when I'm realizing that I actually have a little bit more money to play with. So I'm like, all right, we are making a backyard. So I gave it the classic white picket fence from, I think that's the Backyard Stuff Pack, and a swing set from Seasons because, you know, I mean, like, it's a classic backyard thing. I feel like since we got swing sets in Seasons, anytime I build a family home, I'm like, psh, why would I use a jungle gym? Swing! Like, that's just so much better. So this is the Holcomb house. You can download it on the Sims 4 gallery. There's no custom content. There's a little bit of move objects used, but just for like decor items, so it shouldn't be a big deal. So you can either find it on the gallery using my origin ID, which is Mrs. Tomato 1018, or through the hashtag Mrs. Tomato 1018. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, you can do so down below. I put up a new video every Tuesday. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!